Hello and welcome, Woodrow Wilson friends and family. This is Miss Fields here, and I'm joining you for our 8th episode of Math Toolbox. Tonight we're going to be practicing the skill of order of operations, specifically how to solve expressions using braces, brackets, and parentheses. Now, the skill of order of operations combines all of our 5th grade knowledge of multiplying, dividing, exponents, addition, and subtraction into a single expression, and being able to solve that expression accurately and in the proper order. The way that we're going to remember how to solve that expression accurately and in the correct order is through an acronym called Pemdas. Pemdas stands for Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally, or parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to break down each step of PEMDAS, P-E-M-D-A-S, explain what each letter means, and also how to solve each part of each letter. What I mean by that is, for example, with parentheses, this is the first part of an expression that you're expected to solve. However, it's not just parentheses. Parentheses also applies to braces, brackets, and parentheses. So all of these are considered the parentheses step. However, it's important to note that parentheses are expected to be solved first, then the brackets, and then the braces. Now, in my own class, we remember which one comes first by thinking about braces, brackets, and parentheses as a family. So in our mathematical family, parentheses are the babies. These ones require all of the attention and they always come first. In our mathematical family, brackets are the older siblings, which still need to be taken care of, but always take care of little brother or little sister first. And last but not least, we've got braces, who is the caregiver of the family, either the mom, dad, or guardian, and they make sure that brackets and parentheses come first above all else. So parentheses come first, they're the babies. Brackets come second, they're the older siblings. And braces come last in the parentheses step because they're the caregiver and they want to make sure everybody's taken care of. Now, if that math story doesn't make sense to you right now, that's okay. It's going to make sense as soon as we apply it. Next step is exponents, and exponents are the second part of the expression that you are expected to solve. However, it's important to note that with exponents, you want to change your exponential form into expanded form and then into its product form first before moving on to the expression. What I mean by that is, for example, 10 to the second power, it's also the same as 10 times 10. You need to find the product of 10 times 10, which is 100, before moving on to the next step in your mathematical expression. So parentheses first, exponents next. After you find the product of the exponent, you're welcome to move on to the next part of the expression, which would be either multiplication or division. The reason why I have these two steps together is because even though the M comes before the D, and please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, these two are basically equivalent in their order. What I mean by that is, if both of these are in an expression at the same time, you solve them from left to right. From left to right, first come, first serve. So for example, with 16 divided by 2 times 6, we're not going to solve the multiplication part first, just because in PEMDAS the M comes first. We're going to solve it from left to right because division and multiplication are basically equivalent. So we would do 16 divided by 2 first. 16 divided by 2 is 8. We would rewrite the second part of the expression, which is the times 6. And then we would find the product of 8 times 6, which is 48. Again, I want to emphasize, even though it says PEMDAS and the M comes first, multiplication and division are basically equivalent. So you solve it from left to right. Left to right, first come, first serve. The last part of our acronym PEMDAS is the A and the S. The A and the S stands for subtraction, and just like multiplication and division, these two are basically equivalent in their order. And I mean by that that you solve it from left to right. So just like with division and multiplication, if you encounter addition and subtraction in the expression and they're side by side, you solve it from left to right. So in this particular expression, we would solve 5 plus 175 first, which is 180. And then we would rewrite the second half of the expression that hasn't been solved yet, which is the minus 100. You'd put it all together. 180 minus 100 is 80. Now, let's actually apply this to a full-fledged expression. Now, this expression includes almost all of the things that we talked about previously, save for exponents. So what we do in my class when we encounter a huge expression like this is, first step, we breathe, because it looks a little bit intimidating. And then the second step that we do is that we make sure we organize our work. What I mean by that is I make sure that we create this funnel-shaped object. Off to the side, we make sure that we put Pemdas because we want to be organized. We want to analyze our expression before we begin. And then we want to take a look at what elements are inside of this expression. So what we do is we look. Are there parentheses? Yep, check mark. Right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, right here. There's parentheses, brackets, and braces in this expression. Next step, we move on to the E. Are there exponents? Nope, not that I can see. Put an X. Is there multiplication? Yep, there's actually two instances of multiplication. Put a check mark. Is there division? Yep. Addition? Yep. Subtraction? Yep. Okay, so in our expression, we know that we're going to start with our parentheses. Then we're going to move down to our multiplication and our division because we remember from left to right, first come, first serve. After we're done with that, we're going to move on to our addition and subtraction. So going back to our mathematical family understanding with the parentheses, because we know that there's braces, brackets, and parentheses, we know that our parentheses need to be solved first because they're the babies in our mathematical family. So immediately, in my mind, I'm underlining the parentheses part of the expression, and I'm knowing in my mind that I'm solving that first. So everything else needs to be rewritten, and the parentheses need to be solved first. So I'm not addressing my braces yet, I'm rewriting it. I'm not addressing my brackets yet because that's the older sibling, I rewrite it. However, I am solving for my parentheses. 8 minus 3 is 5, that's where that 5 came from. And I'm rewriting the second half of the expression, which is times 2. Closing off the brackets, putting our addition sign. Again, I'm encountering parentheses. Remember, that's the baby of the family. They get taken care of first. 5 times 6 is 30. I'm rewriting it right there. And I'm rewriting the rest of the expression. I'm not solving anything else. I'm making sure that I'm perfectly organized in my order of operations problem solving. Next step, I know in my mathematical family that the older siblings get taken care of second. So I'm underlining where my older siblings are, which are the 5 times 2 and the 30 minus 5. And I'm rewriting the rest of the expression that does not apply to the brackets. For example, haven't solved for the braces yet, I'm rewriting it. However, I am solving for the brackets portion, which is 5 times 2. Rewriting it right here, 5 times 2 is 10. And then I'm also solving the second half of the brackets expression, which is 30 minus 5, which is 25. And last but not least, I'm making sure I'm rewriting that division step. Because it's not within the braces, this is going to be the last thing that we solve. Last step, the guardian needs to be taken care of because remember, parentheses are the baby, brackets are the older sibling, and braces are the guardian. We want to take care of them last because they want to make sure their mathematical family is taken care of. 10 plus 25 is 35. We're going to rewrite that sum right here. And we're going to rewrite the last half of the expression, which is divided by 5. Last step, find your quotient. 35 divided by 5 is 7. I know that was a lot, and I know that compiling all of our understanding of multiplication, division, exponents, addition, and subtraction can sometimes be overwhelming. Being able to organize your work using the V, being able to remember the order of operations with PEMDAS is going to be key in making sure that you accurately solve these expressions. This is something that we're going to be working on for the rest of the year. So if you're still a little bit confused, rewatch the video, or I can help you in class. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for another episode of Math Toolbox. I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow morning. Have a great night.